Hi, it's Jeremy Cummings from Visual Thinkers. Thanks for tuning in to this broadcast. So, today I'd like to talk to you about something that a lot of people don't know about, and that is building a mobile app. So, a mobile app can typically develop for Android, can be developed for Apple, and also typically you might have a website in case for whatever reason they don't have those. So, to develop a mobile app, you could start with some initial research if you don't already know your customers well. Or even if you do, you should still do some initial research and find out what their needs are for your customers and also figure out anybody else's needs in terms of using the system, be that and some kind of administrator or some other kind of user. And so that would be the first step of doing a project, a mobile application project, is to do some research. And once you have some good ideas in terms of what people want, you may or may not necessarily follow them, but at least you know what they're thinking. So then you can start about the development of some prototypes. You can give them out to people so they can kind of test them out. There's some software to do that. And they can just get a feel for how the app works and get a feel and some feedback as well. You can quickly iterate the project that way. And so once you've done that, then you can start the design and development of the project. And you can continue through the steps of design and development. You may, in fact, go back and revise a couple of times. And depending on the type of project you have, you may have different methodologies you might use, something that you need a high degree of basically um, ability to rely on the app, that it will follow certain standards. It requires a different kind of life cycle than something that is less in need of that, but more in need of something that is continuously updated on an ongoing basis, or that's something that needs to be developed quickly and just to satisfy some requirements, not as in depth. So that might be some different approaches you might take to developing your application. And so you would design, develop, and then test the application. And then once you're satisfied, your users are satisfied, everyone's happy with it, then you could deploy that to your Android or Apple store. And some considerations while you're building the application: one thing is the marketing of it, one thing is the revenue generation of it. How are you going to make money off the app? Are you going to use a freemium model? Are you going to put ads into your app? And you know, one thing two people aren't aware of is that having a mobile application, you might have to do some additional work to develop for a tablet. So one thing to consider really at the beginning is as well what kind of results you're looking to achieve, what kind of what kind of results you're looking to achieve in terms of savings or earnings of the project, as that would affect what you're going to spend to help make that happen. As you know, something with a really low earnings expectation might require a lot less work. If you have a very high expectation, then you're going to want to plan accordingly. So that's something to consider when you're developing it and when you're thinking about the project. So you do need to consider your marketing as well. Like during the development of the application, for example, you might be using some kind of social media. So while you're developing it, to share the application with others, you might want to take that into consideration. And as well, you need to figure out what your marketing plan is. How are you going to get this application out there? How are you going to develop this further in terms of the marketing? How are you going to get people to get your app? I mean, are you going to use Facebook ads? Are you going to use different kinds of ads on different social media platforms, or are you gonna use something else like search engine optimization? Are your customers, do they watch a lot of TV? Most people these days, I'm not sure about that, but there's definitely people that are. And so You need to take that all into consideration when you're working out your marketing efforts, when you're trying to find a solution to market your application, uh, wherever it may be, so that people will download it. Because hopefully, of course, that it goes viral, people just start sharing it. However, that may not be the case, and hey, that's something that you should think about. Maybe you should try to come up with a plan from the very beginning how to make your app go viral. Right? There might be something that you can do by studying other viral apps. What did they do to get there? So that's an inexpensive way. Maybe you don't have to advertise even. It's maybe there's something that you can do that'll just automatically get people hooked on the app and sharing the app, and other people downloading the app. So that's really ideal. So, so that's some different considerations. In terms of you're actually getting into the store, the Android store is fairly easy. There's a short process to get into the store, and and the Apple store is harder because they do care more about the quality of the apps. So they do have people manually review the apps, and so it's a longer process. So they do have more standards that are required other than it just runs. So you know, that's the thing. It is two different kettle of fish there. So you want to think about that as well. Are you going to do both at once? Are you just going to deploy it to Apple, which I would recommend to start, and then later on to Android? So that's something to think about when you are going through this whole process. And so yeah, in terms of the investment for a mobile app, typically, I mean, it could be, well, before I put out that number there, I guess the first thing is you got to think about what kind of return. If you think about, Facebook, they're making billions of dollars off their app. There's apps making millions of dollars. So if you've got a good marketing plan, you've got a good app, you have a chance of making that kind of return. So typically apps would start around the $10,000 range, and they would go up from there. So yeah, so that'd be the kind of investment you might expect to make to have a good app. And so yeah, so that's basically it in terms of briefly describing the process and some considerations around developing your mobile app. Somebody who's thinking about it, should be thinking about all these different things. And so thanks so much for listening to this broadcast. It's Jeremy Cummings again from Visual Thinkers. If you liked it, if it's helpful for you, I'd like you to share with others. And yeah, please like it as well if you can. Thank you so much and have a great day.